Welcome all as we congregate to the greatest toy line in community, ever growing, ever changing. As we collect and adapt these figures to our own imaginations and embrace the fun, there's much to learn, especially if you're new to Mythics.
Hello all, welcome to New to Mythics. This is Curtis, and I've finally taken over. Howdy. We're going to talk about Mythic Legions today, the best toy line around. I hope you're doing well. Sit back, enjoy. I got a special guest with me. You may know him. He's Schmerberberberberberberger.
Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Smoldering voice, man. That was I got
the intro got me into it.
My loins.
I'm not. I don't have as smooth and suave a voice as you, but that's all right. I'll try.
You're good. You're good. Welcome to another episode. This is our special episode. The genesis of this, just to go into it real quick. I had been wanting to do an episode where basically figures that I would recommend to people that are new to Mythics.
Mm-hmm.
They're not very expensive. They're accessible. I mean, they're nowadays, like when I started, there was a less, I think, but now there's a wide array. But these are just ones that I recommend. And I had mentioned on New to Mythic Live, which is every other Sunday, that I wanted to do a show about this, and you said, hey, I'll do that show with you, Schmerbs. And I'm like, that sounds like a great deal. And then you sent me a message and you said, let's join forces. So I've got the Art by Akerman logo up there. And so we're joining forces like peanut butter and jelly. We're coming together like two butt cheeks. And we are making something amazing. Hopefully this will be something that we might do more of in the future. But basically, so Curtis, so I have recommendations for figures that I would recommend for people that are new. And Curtis is coming at it from a master customizer. So he has
that, but yeah,
he has some figures. We have 5 and 5. So he's got 5 that he is going to recommend for customizing and why. Maybe have some ideas, and then we're also going to do like maybe a crossover. So maybe I will be on his show in a future episode, learning to customize. We don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see.
I think there's definitely some potential with our two shows. Just kind of being there for folks that are getting into this, you know, whether it's getting into customizing, getting into collecting in general for Legions. I think we're talking to a lot of the newer folks. So I think there's definitely some synergies to be had. So
that's something that I've always kind of connected to you because you've always been a person that is helpful in the community. And so I would ask you questions and stuff when I was trying to develop this show. And and so because I think like I have that mentality where I like to help and I like to be there and be present, and you're the same way. So it's like, we both kind of, I think we get along pretty good. So, we gel and we want to help and we want to be informative. And I think that's what this show is kind of about, and your show too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a pay it forward kind of thing, right? Like we come into this community not knowing anybody, not knowing anything other than we see some really cool toys, right? Yes. And then we come in and these people welcome us in with open arms and show us the way and help us out. And then you want to do that same thing for somebody else. You want to be that conduit for them, for that next person. So
couldn't said it better. I couldn't have said it better. I did want to give a little appreciation and give recognition for people who have not seen your show. It's called Art by Akerman. I've only got 2 slides for this whole show. One of them is for your, Art by Akerman. check it out. It's at Art by Akerman. There's some underscores there, but just so accessible and easy. And I was just talking to you before the show about the length, and I think the length is important. Maybe not girth. Sometimes length is better than, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway,
I know what you mean. I wanted it to be digestible, something that
yes.
you could sit. Now there are some longer ones. There, like the one that you were just showing, the What's on My Desk.
Mm-hmm.
Those are about 2 hours, and it's just me kind of sitting at my desk working on stuff. So it's less edited. It's more just kind of me working through things.
Mm-hmm.
See me make a lot more mistakes on those, but sometimes it's important for people to see that.
It's
but
informational.
yeah, my whole channel though is really around customizing, and I just wanted it to be a resource for people that kind of, maybe they're getting into customizing for the first time, and they're like, hey, how do you break these figures apart, or like what paints should I buy, or how do I do this stuff, how do I pop and swap? So my whole channel is really geared towards that, is all customizing. There's a lot of content in this community, a lot of great stuff. I'm not trying to replace or do anything for anybody that's already out there doing great stuff. Just trying to supplement it from a customizing standpoint and just make stuff available for people.
Yeah, no, I totally respect that you're not trying to compete, you're not trying to be the star of whatever, you're just trying to help and be informational and have fun. And I think that's,
I mean, like you just pulled up one of the reviews there.
Yes,
like when I was doing the reviews, I tried to think, okay, what can I bring that's different, right? Because we already got great reviews from D Amazing and Toy Bro and Dorklayer and Billy Beige does some awesome reviews. Like there's people that do great reviews, Hedgehog. And I was like, okay, what can I do that's a little bit different? How can I add something to it so it's not like people go, oh, I would rather watch this person's than that person's, but you watch Bill's, like you go watch Dorklayer's, and then you go, I'm also going to go watch Curtis's because it offers something extra, some extra information that maybe I don't get somewhere else. So that's where I came up with that kind of exploded review, where I break all the figures apart into all the different pieces and kind of talk more about the customizing aspect of it. So it's just things like that. Like I said, I'm not trying to recreate or replace anything that anybody else is doing. Just trying to add a little bit of extra to it from a customizing standpoint.
Yeah. And I think we're all so geeky over Mythics that like I'll watch all the Tuberculi reviews or all the, just because, every person that reviews is their own personality and they're their own person, and I'm a fan of all of them. So, I don't mind sitting through Toy Bros or sitting through Bill's or sitting through yours because, like you said, you're getting a different perspective each time or a different opinion. Maybe what Toy Bro thought about, Big Greg's hammer is not the same as Bill's thoughts. So, it's good to get different, but we're those geeks that will watch all that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then want to contribute like you do and like I do. This is my way of giving. I don't really customize, I don't sell stuff, I don't, but I try to provide a little bit of fun or entertainment or conversation and try to be informative. So that's what I try to do.
Yeah, totally. And I think we're going to have some of that tonight, talking about, if you're somebody that's just, we're sitting here and I should make mention, this is early 2025 that we're having this discussion in case people are watching this years into the future. I mean, we're long and gone. But this list will change. What we talk about today is probably going to be a different list than we would give you 6 months from now or a year from now. So you just got to keep that in mind. But as of right now, I think we're going to give you some figures that would be great ones to go after if you're just getting into this.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah. Cause I was just thinking that when I thought about doing this show, there was a lot less figures that were available at the time. I still kind of stuck with that list somewhat, but we'll give ideas of other figures that are available besides these ones because there's a lot out there.
Mhm.
that you're not going to have to spend. And that was a big thought of mine too, is if you're new, you don't have to drop thousands of dollars or even hundreds. There's figures that you can buy to customize or to just have on your shelf that
Mhm.
are reasonable within the Mythic, cost.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And there's a saying in our community that's don't look backwards, right? Like look forward. And part of that is because there's so much coming out
yes,
from Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, Figure Obscura. There's so much coming out that there's plenty of new stuff coming at better prices than if you chase some of the older, more rare stuff.
right,
And typically, as they get further and further in the line, the tooling gets better, the articulation gets better, the amount of accessories you get with it gets better because they're selling at larger scales, which means they can include more stuff for the same
right,
price. So it's, this line is awesome, and it only gets better every single time that
I
they put out
agree.
a new wave.
Yeah, I had to learn the hard way. I went backwards, even though
I
Bill
did too, a little bit.
said not
I had a
to.
couple that I
Yeah,
chased after. I've got a couple really kind of horror stories, or not really horror story, but like cautionary tales, I guess, for folks that are watching.
cautionary
I
tales.
went after a Brontis and I paid $300 for a Brontis, right? And then he came out as an all-star and he was $80,
Mm.
right?
And
It was
that's the line.
right.
That's you
And
don't
then
know.
I traded like $300 worth of stuff for a Black Knight. And it was like 3 weeks later, he came out as a reinforcement for $25. $25, and I traded away $300 worth of stuff. So
Wow. Yeah,
just like I said, cautionary tale. Sometimes
yeah,
this stuff comes back around. If it doesn't come back around in the exact fashion that you had it before, you may get an upgrade. You may get
right.
what they call a version 2, which is like a newer version of it with better stuff. So yeah, try not to look back. There may be a character that you read the bio you just attach with, and you're just like, man, I just love that character, and I've got to go
That's
after it.
yeah.
And
I
if you've got one of those, yeah, have at it. But try not to do too much of that. Like there's just so much good stuff coming
yeah,
down, at a good price coming out
right.
new.
No, I agree.
Focus on that.
I think with people, and I'm just speaking from my own experience, like it was, and I think Robo kind of had the same thing where it was like so daunting.
Yeah.
Like there's so much, there's so many figures. Like right now I'm surrounded by, Mythic figures, and it's like there's so many options and choices, and you know what I mean? So like where do I jump in at? So that's kind
Yeah.
of what this show is like. If you're like, I don't know what to buy next. And I've seen the post, you've probably seen the post in the Cabal where people are like, what should I pick up next, guys? And that's kind of what this is. So like if
Yeah.
you're
Well,
to
I mean, something I want to throw out there real quick. Like they're soliciting the book right now for the first 10 years of Mythic Legions, right? And if you think about it, kind of what you're talking about, somebody coming in and go, where do I start? Think about those toy lines that we grew up with, right? Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, all that kind of stuff. None of those lasted 10 years, right?
right. No,
Now we have very fond memories from back then of that stuff, but they
right.
didn't have a 10-year stretch where they were
Yeah,
just
they
going
had like one
nonstop.
wave, maybe
Right, right.
or two,
So this is a very deep line with a lot of figures. And yeah, if you're just getting into it, it can be a little overwhelming when you first jump in. But there's enough stuff coming out that you can really put together a nice collection just with new stuff that's coming.
Absolutely. Yep,
So,
that was my thought too.
yeah.
So let's get started, man.
Sure, let's do it.
So for my number 5, I picked, and some of these I have open, some of them I don't. Some of them
Okay.
I've kind of pop and swapped, so I don't have them available. So my number 5 is Swig, which some of the malignancy might get mad that he's number 5. There's not really any favoritism or not. It's just a recommendation. This is not my number 1 figure that I'm like, buy this now, but this is on my top 5 of figures that's fun. There's a lot. He comes with a lot. He's got soft goods. He's got a fun head sculpt. He's got a fun bio. Very popular in the community. If you want to look it up, you can. But I don't know. It's a fun figure, and it's a little guy. What more can I say? Swig. Pick up Swig.
He's awesome, man. You get a goblin in there. One of the things that really attracted me to Mythic Legions right from the get-go is the variety in size. that you've got stuff
Yes.
as small as like a goblin, and then you've got the 2.0, 1.0s, and now you got brute scale and half giants and trolls, and like you just look at it and it's like this whole, like, you know, the size difference within the line. It's not, you know, one of these kind of cookie cutter lines where
Right.
every figure is the same size.
Yeah, the
So,
same
yeah.
scale, the same size. It's like I don't need that uniformity. It's fun to have different things on your shelf and different sizes, and they all kind of go together and just make your shelves even cooler. So what's your number 5, sir? What you
All
got?
right. So I kind of attack this from a customizing standpoint,
Right.
and customizers, we live and breathe by Legion builders. All right.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you, there's some folks that don't get Legion builders. There's some folks, you'll see some reviewers that they'll get a Legion builder and they'll go, I don't get it. Like, there's not a whole lot of paint apps to this and that. Exactly. It's there. It's like a template for you to customize.
Yes, it's like a canvas.
Yep. So I picked some things that are still readily available at good prices.
That's something that I didn't mention too. I want, you know, ones that people
that you can find.
Find.
So this is the Deluxe Gladiator, which is currently, as we record this, is available on Store Horseman for $26. And I've got it just in this little baggie here.
You don't have to open it if you don't want to.
But you know, it's just it's a really cool figure. Like, I mean, it's just a super cool gladiator figure. I love this helmet.
I do too.
He's got this one kind of skull pauldron that goes on the one side. Just really, really cool figure. And it has all you need to start customizing. So, you know, if you're first getting into this, you know, like this little loin piece here, it's got a bunch of rivets on it. You just put little dots of metallic on those rivets. Boom, it's a different figure, right? You know, there's the bare torso and arms and legs pack that's on Store Horseman for $10, where it's got the darker skin stuff. You can pop some of that on here and change this.
Can you do that?
Yep.
I didn't even think about that.
Yep. The only thing it doesn't have is the feet, so you'd have to put different feet on here.
Yeah.
But you know, this is for $26. These Legion builders are so good for customizing because you can just play around with it and try some things, and it doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. So that's my first one, is the
that's a great one,
Gladiator.
Can you give people kind of a quick description of what a Legion builder is? That way they kind of, I mean,
so
I know, but I just in case people are not really like, what's a Legion builder? What's the difference?
Absolutely. So like the standard figures, kind of like the swig that Greg was just showing, they typically are named figures that'll have, you know, a little bit better paint apps. Maybe they got some soft goods, you know, things like that. Whereas your Legion builders are, you know, just that. They're like, this is Deluxe Gladiator. It's not Deluxe Gladiator John. All right. He doesn't have a name or anything. He's just a gladiator. But they're a cheaper price because they have lower paint apps. They don't have, you know, typically like a face sculpt or anything. It's just a helmet. And it's just a better base to kind of start customizing with. So, you know, like I said, right now, $26 online, you're not going to beat that. I mean, if you look at, you know, kind of going into your local Walmart or Target and trying to find, let's say like a classified or Marvel Legend or something for $25, and then compare that to this figure for 26, night and day. Like, it's not even close. And this then allows you to kind of work off of that and build off of that and make it into whatever you want. So,
do you think that the Legion builders' popularity has grown because of the customizers?
You know, it's interesting because I just recently had this conversation with Jeremy, and he's kind of got like this, you know, mixed love-hate relationship with Legion builders, because it is amazing from a customizing standpoint. But for people that don't know the line, people that are new to Mythics, and they get that, and maybe that's their first figure, if they don't understand the difference of a Legion builder compared to a regular figure, they may look at that and say, man, I just don't know that I want to get in this line if this is what I'm getting, you know, with the lesser paint apps and stuff. But it's really there for customizing. So if you're not in the know, it could kind of be a little misleading.
That's kind of, I mean, that's kind of how I see it. It's kind of like, for me, it's almost like a safe buy. Like, you know, I'm not really sure about this line. $26 is not bad. Let me pick up this Gladiator and see what it's all about. So you're not risking a lot, but you're getting, a great return on the figure because you're going to see in hand that it's amazing,
Absolutely. And I mean, you can kind of take a look and see, we all have something that pulls us into this line, whether it's the Motu tributes, whether it's vampires or skeletons or barbarians or whatever. And you can just look and find that thing that speaks to you and go for it.
Right.
So,
right.
yep.
Yeah. Excellent. Good choice, sir. My number 4 is also a Legion builder. It's the Barbarian. This is actually the second version, right? There was an original version that I don't have. He's got a different colored beard, and I think he comes with more stuff, right?
Yeah, the OG Barbarian was a little bit pricier. It had a lot of extra stuff with it. This is the second deluxe version. But great pick. I love it. I love those. They call them the evil armored legs, where it's like more spiky and stuff.
Yeah.
Love that look. You get the double bear arms on that thing. Yeah, that's a cool one for sure.
It's a lot of fun, and it looks good. I mean, yes, it would be nice. You could paint it a little bit, but even without the paint, the Gladiator or the Barbarian look great on a shelf.
Yeah, I mean the Legion builders are good for that. Like let's say like this Gladiator here. Maybe you've got some of the other ones. You've got your like Vetus and Calavius and some of those other named gladiators, and then you just throw like 5 or 6 of these guys behind it, even if they're not customized at all. It just builds out that kind of gladiatorial
army. It's kind of like an army builder.
Same thing with the Barbarian. Like you could throw a couple, your Atlases and a couple folks out there in front, and then you throw a bunch of these Barbarians behind them, and next thing you know, you've got a Legion that you built. That's why they're called Legion builders.
Right. Yeah. So. And a lot of the deluxe figures do come with additional heads.
Yeah.
These Legion builders are kind of not really bare bone. You still get a lot of stuff with these Legion builders, but you can also you can add heads and stuff like that. Once you start delving into more deluxe Mythic figures. So what's your number 4, sir? What you got?
Number 4, and I don't know that these are in any sort of real order.
Nah, I'm not really either.
All top 5, all these 5 I think are really good picks.
Yes. So. My number 1 is a super number 1 for me, but yeah,
I'm kind of the same way. My number 1 is kind of a little bit different.
The other ones, they're all good.
The other 4, so next one I've got is the Vampire Phalanx.
That's a great choice.
And this works well just as a night body. So it's like it's completely black, like a glossy armor, armored knight look. And you could take that head off that is a vampire head, and you could, go to Legion's Con, go to any of these shows that have, artists there and they're selling heads. You could pop a different head on here, and now it's just a black knight with a different head. So this is a great for that. If you do like vampires, it does have a vampire head, so you're good there.
Yeah.
And black for customizing, black is the best base to start with.
Really?
Because you can make this really any color you want, and the joints where there's black, that just becomes shadow.
Oh.
All right. So customizers love when we get stuff in black. It just FYI, black is awesome.
See, that's something that had never occurred to me. Not to get into the weeds too much, but is it tough to paint black or to paint something brighter on top of the black?
No, I mean, if you're going like white or yellow usually takes a lot of layers. But no, black is a great base to start with. In fact, a lot of folks, if they prime their parts, like if they get third party printed parts, they will prime it in a black primer before they start painting.
Okay.
So yeah, black is great to work off of. And I mean, you could do a lot of great things with this. Okay, let me just give you a real super easy tip for customizing. So if you've never customized before in your life, right? There's a thing called dry brushing. And it's just as simple as that. Like you're basically you're putting some paint on your brush, you're wiping most of it off, you're getting it very dry, and then you just go over the surface of whatever you're painting, right? Something like this, you could do a brown dry brush over this, and this armor is now going to look like leather. right?
Ooh.
Or you could do a red dry brush over this, and that's how they get like the blood armor. So Vorgus Vermilius, that look is basically just black armor with a red dry brush over it. That's it. It's as simple as that. Anybody that, even if you've never picked up a paintbrush in your life, you could get some red on the paintbrush, get most of it off on a paper towel or something, and dry brush over this. Boom, it's going to look fantastic.
I need to learn that. I need to learn that technique. I've heard it. I've heard people talk about it.
It's the easiest thing you can do for painting wise. I mean, it's literally you just get you just have a lid on there, and then you're just doing like this. Like you're just kind of haphazardly going around and doing like this. And what it does is, because there's very little paint on the brush, it just catches the raised surfaces and it doesn't go down into the crevices and stuff. So all those crevices stay dark, shadows, and all the things on the top, it hits highlights. And
so textured stuff.
Yep.
Textured stuff, it would really look good on.
Oh yeah. But I mean, like this, like an armored piece like this, like a lot of their armor has layers. Like there's layers on the arms, the legs, there's like stuff that's like sculpted chainmail on the upper legs and the elbows and stuff. So when you're hitting that with a dry brushing, it hits all those raised surfaces and colors those, but leaves the recesses in the dark color. So beautiful.
That's one thing too I would say about Mythics, is that they have a lot of textures.
Oh yeah,
a lot of layers and a lot of, Eric might even not go overboard, but he puts so much detail. Like I don't have any of the necro stuff in hand yet, but just all the extra detail that goes into these figures is insane.
Yeah, and it helps to also hide the joints. Like a lot of times you see action figure photography and you can tell it's a toy, right?
Yes.
But when you look at ones with Mythic, especially if you have a really good photographer, it'll look like it's straight out of a movie. And a lot of that is because of that layered armor. Like they've got armor that's made in such a way on the action figure that it covers up where the joint is. And it makes it look really realistic.
Yeah, I never thought about that, because nothing throws me off quicker when I'm looking at a picture to see joints. That's why I hate the figures with the pins and their arms and legs. I'm like, you're just ruining the beauty of the figure and the the symmetry and stuff. You're just messing it up. But
if you look at it, like I've got a Valiant Knight here. So like his gauntlet, like the connection point is about here, but then the gauntlet goes up a little bit further to cover that connection point, right? So the connection point, if you were to look into it, is about there, but the gauntlet still goes up further to see it. So even though this will twist right here, you can't see where it twists. You can't see the joint because it's covered up by the layer. Same thing with like the knee. So there's a bend in the knee here, but this flap comes up to cover that knee, so you can't see the joint, right? It's just layered armor. So that's what I'm talking about. It's just a lot of layered armor throughout that covers up those joints and makes it look more realistic.
I love that engineering. That's something that so interests me in their figures, is just the engineering or how they figure out like how the bend is or how it relates to the the leg or the armor on the leg or the scales or whatever it is, whether it's an alien, whether it's a lizard or whatever, like that whole engineering and the thoughtfulness that they put into it.
Well, yeah, because they're also trying to at the same time make it all modular, right? Because they want these things to be able to be popped and swapped and switched around. So it's not like they make a knight this way, and then when they go over to a barbarian, they're able to do it a completely different way, because they want the parts from the barbarian to be able to switch with the knight, and for that to be able to switch with a skeleton, and for that to be able to switch with a snake man. And so you've got to try to make sure that the engineering works across all those figures to create all those extra options for the customizing.
Now, do you think they sit down and just like puzzle it out, like the whole engineering part and like how this will go with that? Or is it like,
I think that Eric has a certain vision that he's going for. And they come up with that. And then, Chris works really well with the factory to know what they can and can't do. And then they've got some folks in the studio, like Joe Vassapolo, who is a customizer, and he knows, hey, this is what people are going to be looking for. This is not what people are going to be looking for. And this would look cool with that figure or whatever. And so it's a really collaborative place. And if you ever get to go there, if you're a fan of Legions like we are, a fan of Four Horsemen, if you get to go to intern, it's one of the most amazing experiences.
Absolutely.
Because you get to see that it's not a typical hierarchy structure in most businesses where you've got a boss that says this is how things are going to be done and it just kind of rolls downhill, right? Like everybody has input, and everybody's input is valued, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. I'm messing with my lights and I shouldn't have. No, my lights they're like blue. I don't know what's going on here. Sorry.
There's a 1/6 shooter joke in there somewhere, but I'm not
right. Yeah, there's get the blue light going. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like it's run, I think, completely different. It's more like a family structure.
Absolutely. And you've got so many people that work there that at one point were just fans, right? And they like came to like check things out, or maybe they started working there part-time, and then next thing you know, it became a career for them. So, you know, they love this stuff. And I think that's what separates them from everybody else making toys right now, is that you can tell that they just love this stuff and they're making stuff that they would want to buy.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I think that, you know, with the combination of the studio and how they are, how transparent, how kind, how friendly, how innovative in the community, and then what they're making, and it's unlike anything I've ever been a part of. But,
for sure. Absolutely.
Super happy to be. So my number 3 is probably one of the first figures. This wave, which I think was All Stars 5. Is this All Stars 5?
Nice. Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Yeah, I was kind of new still when this wave came out, and they're all good. Like everything that came out on that wave, which is all still probably available. Just great figures. So this was kind of my first newer Mythic female figure. And I think I have like 4 of these now, but they're just fun. And I think they're also good for customizing too. They've got a lot of parts. I kind of wish she had another head in addition, but this figure, and I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first one? Oh no, I think it was Hadriana that had the first visor that goes.
Yeah, Hadriana came out before this. Yeah.
But yes, if you're into the female Mythics, this one is really an excellent figure. And I also wanted to add, well, I'll be negative for a second.
Okay.
The 2.0, some of the 2.0 armored figures, their feet are a little small, and so I would recommend people to use any kind of, the Horsemen have one. This just a basic, but a nice stand for some of your figures, because you don't want them, because sometimes they jump and you don't want that. But I was going to recommend soft goods for Legion builders, for regular figures. I really can't tell you how much a nice soft goods cape or tabard or loin. She's got this soft goods loin piece right here, it's wired, but just adding a cape that's got like the same kind of colors. This one happens to be from the famous Darla Akerman. The way I can tell is she has this beautiful little thing in the back here for pauldrons, or I heard today that people can put the figures' heads through them.
Yeah, I've had people do that as well. Yep.
Never thought of that. Check out Curtis's episode with Darla, where she gives up her secrets and talks about the construction of these capes, which is unbelievable, unprecedented. Like, why would she give up her secrets? That just shows what an amazing person she is. But the color,
that segment that I've got on my show, it's called the How'd They Do That segment, and each week I bring on a different artist from the community. And I get that, like, people will say, like, I can't believe this person came on and said how they paint faces, or how they do this or how they do that. Like, that's the thing that they're great at. And it's like, that's what this community is, though. right? Like this
Testimony,
community is willing to share those things because it may just encourage one more person to go out there and do something like that.
Yeah,
So.
just the generosity of knowledge and time
Mhm.
and friendship is unparalleled. But yeah, I recommend soft goods.
Mhm.
And some figures don't need it, but other figures it's nice. It just punches them up and makes them even more special on your shelf. So
Yeah, and that one's a really good one. I love the paint apps.
Akerman.
I love her eyes and the paint apps
Yes.
around her eyes. And
Yep.
then, it's just like you said, it's also one, a female figure that you can find pretty readily available right now. Like it's not too difficult to come by. So yeah, that's a really good one. I actually was at a toy show middle of last year. And I saw a couple of them at a table for fairly cheap, and I was like, man, I'm gonna grab a few of those because they're really good for customizing too, like you said.
Yeah, and I find myself sometimes buying extras if I find them cheap. I've seen her for $35. I'll give them to friends.
Yeah,
like, hey, do you have this one? Nope. There you go. You got it now. And,
that's awesome.
even if they're new to the line, it's a good figure to send. And all of these are good figures to send to someone that's kind of on the fence or not sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And they're ones that aren't going to break the bank either. So
exactly. So who's your number 3? Let's go.
All right. My number 3. Now this one is a little special to me because Jesse and I, my partner on Shooting the Shelf, we actually got to reveal this one. And this is the Shadow Orc Grunt.
Yes.
So once again, this is on Store Horseman right now for $26. It has got black arms and legs, which we already talked about is fire. Like that's cool. Anytime you can get black, it's a great thing to customize. Plus it's an orc. It has a couple different heads here for the orc. And it's just got really cool, like it's got that it's the torso that came with like Magnus, where it's got like the rivets and stuff. And it's just a really cool piece.
That neck piece too, right?
Yep. So once again, just a really cool figure, $26. If you just wanted an orc army, you could buy a bunch of these and not do anything. It's going to be fine. Yeah. But if you want to customize it, it does have that customizing potential too. And it's only $26.
That sword's great too. Yeah, I remember that episode where you guys introduced it. That was awesome. I'm looking at mine right now. It's a fun figure, even on its own. Like I'm not a customizer or pop and swap at all. I mean, I will, and I have a little bit, but like just on its own, that figure is so good. Just very by itself. Or you could change, you could, if you don't want it to be an orc, you can change it. You can get a head. You could put a Jaguarian.
Yep. From the heads pack that they had a black cat head that you could just pop on there and just leave everything else the same. You're good to go.
Boom. Different race. Good choice, sir.
Thank you.
My number 2, is it 2 already?
Yep.
Holy crap. It was kind of a toss-up. Like everyone loves this figure. And I was kind of late to it. I bought one when it first came out. It's the same wave. I bought it and I was kind of like, it doesn't really talk to me as much as my number 1. But it's come a long way. And I think I might open it right now.
Very nice.
Iron Guard.
I love that figure. I think that figure is so freaking good.
I'm gonna open it. I've never opened one.
Little shout out on that figure. So right now, Wolf King Customs is doing this thing, with Len and Emil, where Len is kind of challenging Emil each month, where he's giving him a figure and saying, "Hey, come up with a new head that totally transforms this figure." And the one for this month, they picked the Xylernian Guard. It was a fan vote, and the fans voted on the Xylernian Guard. And Emil just did it. What's that?
The old Chico? Is that this figure? Is this the old Chico one?
I don't know.
It's like a what's a dryad?
Yeah. Like a treant. Yes.
Yeah. That's actually brilliant.
I didn't know that's what they were calling it, but it's basically it's
Chico.
Yeah. So it's just really cool kind of tree head for it that totally transforms the character, and it fits right in with Xylona's flock. So, but yeah, this is an amazing figure. So good.
what's crazy is this. It's not a Legion builder, so it is more. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not
It's a standard figure price. Yeah, it's like 37.
man, like it's amazing. Like the detail and the stuff. You get soft goods, you get plastic goods, you get two heads, a bag of goodies.
And this was one of the ones, the first ones that was readily available that had kind of those leather hands and feet that people were excited for, because for the longest time all we had was armored, like it was metal feet, metal hands. So starting to get some of those leather goods in there too was really cool.
Absolutely, yeah, that's an awesome figure.
But yeah, if you go to Wolf King right now, they've got that deal where you can get, well, it's not yet. It'll be, I think, the end of this month, where you'll be able to get the figure and the head for just the figure price. So you actually get extra parts for customizing for free, basically. So
that's awesome. Yeah, people check out Wolf King Customs and experience that linerosity.
Absolutely. But that's a great pick. I'm a big fan of that pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play with him today. Check them out. Super cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You ready for my number 2?
I am ready, sir. What you got?
All right. Oh, I love that.
It's awesome. I should have opened it a year ago.
So anybody that knows me knows I love Templars. Like they're probably my favorite in the whole line. Right now there's only one Templar that it's available that is a Legion builder, and that is the Relic Guard.
Oh man.
So they had a standard Templar that was a Legion builder for the longest time. And it came out as a reinforcement. Then they came out with the Dark Templar, which was a black tabard with a white cross. And that one just recently sold out on Store Horseman. But the armor on that was a little bit, it wasn't as metallic. It was more gray. This one, the armor on it is metallic. It looks really nice. And that white and black on the tabard is spectacular. So this thing is great as is. You don't have to do a dang thing to this one. But if you wanted to, you can use this for customizing. And it's, once again, a $26 figure. I think, as far as value goes and for a Legion builder, I think this is my top pick as far as a Legion builder goes.
It's a great canvas, dude. I mean, you can make it into a skeleton horde Templar. You can make it into a different race. I've seen people make it into a female. It's just a great blank slate. This one comes with a crazy.
Oh yeah. It's got the big old shield too. Yeah.
Now, is this kind of like, is Necronominus, the Night Shields, is it similar to this?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The same kind of.
Yep. That part pops out. That was like the first one that we got that had that contraption in it, where it's the big faction logo and yep. So a lot of the ones that are coming out right now in Necronominus are that exact same shield, but with different attachments on it. So
that's cool.
Yep.
Excellent. So that was your number 2.
Yep.
Oh man,
we're at number 1.
Trucking. I do have a honorable mention as well.
Okay, I kind of do as well.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so my number 1, it's the same wave, dude. This wave, how old is All Stars 5? 2 years?
2 years, yeah.
This stuff is still available readily at a great price. I mean, if you check out the Cabal, the community, all these figures that I've shown of this wave, you could get $40, $35, or at a show or something. But I'm gonna say Dubon. Dubon is my number 1. He was also my number 1 mythic. I'm an Azza guy. Azza is my favorite character, but this figure with Boreas, the gray horse, you take this figure and put him on Boreas, the horse, the shelf is going to be fire. Like this figure, he's got the hooded head. He's got an amazing head sculpt. He's got cloth type pants and the boots, like what Curtis was saying, it's got plastic that looks like leather. He's got a chest piece, but this cape I freaking love, man. And just the colors are just fire. Like this figure, like I said, put him on the horse all day. Like it's perfect figure. He comes with a falcon, I think, or a hawk. I don't have it.
I can't remember which one it is, but
some kind of avian creature.
Yep.
But yeah, this is, if I see these cheap, I'm picking it up. Just because you can do so much with it. You can make him a ranger. You can change. All you got to do is pop his head off and put something else on. You can buy head sculpts.
Well, it's interesting that you picked that, because you just picked the figure for the February 12 for 25 from Wolf King, and then your number one is the January figure for Wolf King. And I literally right before this show, I just finished painting the set that Emil did for this figure, which is this right here. This hasn't been seen anywhere else. This is the first time I'm showing this picture.
Thank you. It's an honor.
But it's a cool set. And once again, this was available at Wolf King, where you buy the figure and you get the parts with it for free. So if you're customizing, like, this just works out great. And it kind of changes him. Like the original look that when you buy it is like a ranger, right? Mm-hmm. And then this changes him into more of a rogue, which is cool. Like, it's amazing how just,
or a bad guy or something,
a couple different weapons and a head completely changes the way that character looks. So, but I love that pick. I love both of those that you just had for number 2 and 1.
Great figure all the way around. Just an outstanding figure.
So good. And I mean, he's one that from the moment that All Stars 5 was revealed, people were just like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. Like, this thing looks awesome. I mean, people love Magnus, and it looked kind of like a Magnus head with a hood. You get a bird, you get the soft goods. Like, it's
get a ton of stuff.
Oh yeah. So
great figure. What's your number 1, sir?
All right. So I'm going to tell you, first off, I didn't appreciate my number 1 at first. Okay.
I understand
it was part of a Legions Con 2-pack, and I was more interested in the other figure, right? So at Legions Con, the year that this came out, I was trading a bunch of this figure away before I ever even looked at it, before I ever touched it.
I've done that.
I was trading a bunch of this figure away for the other figure that came in the 2-pack. But I will tell you that right now, based on what's available on Store Horseman, I think that this is one of the best bangs for the buck, and that is the Walter the Mad skeleton. So this thing is just loaded. I've got one here that this is a single packed one, because I had to buy extra single packed ones since I gave away the ones in my double packs.
I just opened one, and it is the armor is fantastic.
It's so great. I mean, so you get this one head that's got like the chainmail and stuff on it. You get the scapular head, like that OG scapular head that people were clamoring for. You get those leather goods. It's got a big fur cape on the back of it. And this is $37 right now. Like, it's a ridiculous amount of value and accessories and whatnot. So I tried to, with my list, I gave you a gladiator, gave you an orc, gave you a knight, gave you a vampire. Now you got a skeleton. Give you a little bit of variety, and all of them were 1.0s, so they can all be popped and swapped. So that was kind of what I was trying to go for. But yeah, this is my number 1 as of right now.
Great choice.
When we're talking early 2025, this would be the one that I would say people should go out and get. Plus, it is a tribute to the creator and runner of the Cabal, which is Walter Hagen. So
I love the armor on that. I was kind of slow to get on that skeleton train. This is the year of skeleton, apparently. So, but that armor is fantastic.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things where, even if skeletons aren't your thing, you can take that armor and the legs and the arm and put it on one of those other figures that I talked about and create a totally different look. That's the beauty of the popping and swapping.
Absolutely. So. I agree. My honorable mention. A lot of people didn't really care for this figure. I bought a bunch just because I thought they were cool. It comes with a lot of cool armor pieces. Even if you don't like the head sculpt, I like the head sculpt. But even if you don't, they give you an option. I've got Lee J as my honorable.
That's a good one.
You can pick them up probably $40 or $50. Comes with a lot of. He comes with extra head. He's got a helmet, which I don't think they've done that before, where you can put the helmet over the head.
Not separately now.
Yeah, and it's just even if you don't like the figure, he's got the black arms and legs. You can use that for Jagwillian again.
Yeah, it's great because he comes with two sets of arms and legs, right? Yeah. He's got gold ones that you could put on that figure, which then gives you the black set that I said is so valuable, right? That you can use for anything, or you can leave those black ones on there, and now you've got a gold set of arms and legs that you can use on a different figure.
Right. Yeah, and I've seen people beef up using those gold pieces. They've beefed up their gold knights.
Yeah,
which is also a really good choice. They're kind of rare now. I don't see a lot of gold knights. But those are great fun figures too. But yeah, you can kind of use the gold pieces that come with this and kind of soup up your gold knight. I've seen people do it. And I love that belt. It's got some cool red pouches on there. Just accents. He comes with some red belts that he can wear. I think that were Zenithons, but it's a fun figure. It's worth picking up.
Beautiful. My honorable mention, which I don't have a single carded one of, but I do have it here in this double pack, is the Garwich figure from the Legions Con 2-pack, which is available single carded on Store Horseman right now for $37. You get soft goods, you get some other armor that aren't in the ones that I mentioned. So if you bought all the 5 that I mentioned, you're like, hey, I'd like to have one more figure for $37. You get some different armor. You get a couple different heads with this, some soft goods. It's got the cloth arms and legs, which are pretty cool. So yeah, I think that's for $37. I think that's a great value.
Can't beat that with a bat. I like Gaspar too because he's got
Gaspar is great. The only reason I picked Garwich over Gaspar is because I've already picked a couple figures that had bare arms and legs. And I was like, I don't want to go overboard the bare arms and legs, but yeah, that figure. Let me show you something. And I posted pictures of this, but this is using that Gaspar body, but with the robe from Maxilius, and I just made a monk with it. This is the kind of stuff like literally zero paint on this. All it is a Gaspar body with the Brother Xavier head that came with it. I gave him a book from the Jacob Marley set where he's got like the chains and stuff, and then the robe from Maxilius. I did zero paint to this. This takes 5 minutes, and now you've got a monk in your collection.
Wow, so, I love it. That's a great idea. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, as soon as they revealed that Maxilius, whatever it was, 2.5 years ago, and I saw those robes, I was like, because they showed the figure with all the ornate stuff on it, everything, and they're like, okay, you take the ornate stuff off, and now it's like a Grim Reaper, right, with the robe, and then it's like now you take the robe off, and you just got a bare bone skeleton, and I'm like, yeah, but then what would you use the robe for? And so my mind immediately went, I could make monks. I could get a bunch of bare bone skeletons and make monks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so for 2.5 years or whatever it is, I've been like waiting to make monks. So awesome. Excited.
It looks great. It looks really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah, that was fun to go through those.
Absolutely. Like I said, we could do this 6 months from now, and our list may be completely different. They may have a new Legion Builder wave out. You may have some new stuff on the website. Whatever the case may be, and that's why you just got to keep looking forward because there's always new stuff coming down the pike. That's going to be fun.
So, yep, always.
One last thing that I will say, if you can make it to Legions Con, first of all, you should try to make it anyways because it's just a lot of fun, a lot of cool people. But I think the best value that you can get in collecting the Legions line is at Legions Con on those exclusive sets. Those exclusive sets, they load them out. I mean, you've got extra heads, extra arms, extra legs, extra all these other pieces. They are so good, so good. And I know there's a few of
$100.
those. I think the Cosmic one, the Cosmic Creator 2-pack, is still available at Big Bad Toy Store, but you're going to pay a little bit extra for it because it's after the con. But if you can go to the con, man, I'm telling you what, those things that Jeremy and Joe put together for those exclusives are top notch.
Yeah, you get so much. I think I bought 2 or 3 of the Mythic one.
Yeah.
Just because of stuff, so much good stuff. You get exclusives too. So yeah, you can't beat that stuff.
And the cool thing is they're doing more of that stuff. Like it's not just Legions Con now. Like we got a ZoloCon one this year. There's the Toylanta one that's coming. So you're having some of these other cons that are kind of getting in on this exclusive thing with the Four Horsemen, which is really neat.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much, man. I think this is a fun, nice little episode to give people kind of an idea on what to maybe possibly pick up, and look for me to be on Curtis's show, and maybe I'll customize something. I think I want to do the one of the dwarfs, the gray one. That's
nice.
Which that's not the cavern one, it's the other one. I always forget the name.
There's the deluxe Legion Builder dwarf that came out in that deluxe wave. You might be talking about that one, or
the dark gray with the antlers. Which one is that one?
Yeah, I think that's the deluxe one.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that would work. So I tell you what, folks, if you're watching this, throw some comments in here. What would you like to see if I was to work with Greg and we were to help him customize a figure? What is a figure that you'd like to see him customize and come up with? Throw out some ideas and we'll see what we can do.
Remember, I'm new. I'm very inexperienced. I don't know what I'm doing.
I tell you what I was talking earlier with that Vampire Phalanx, just doing some dry brushing.
No, that's a great idea.
Telling you what, that would be, we could knock out some dry brushing pretty quick and make it look good.
Let's do that for sure. So I will customize something else. But I want to do that because I have the Vampire Phalanx and I want to try that dry brushing. So let's do that one for sure, and then I'll customize one too. Maybe people in the comments can recommend something that
beautiful. We could do it, and like I said, that you could do it with brown or you could do it with red. So one of us can choose red, one of us can choose brown.
Yeah,
we'll just dry brush the heck out of it, and take a look and see what it looks like.
Sounds good. That sounds good. So check out Curtis's YouTube show, Art by Akerman. There's so much, it's dense. There's so much there, but there's a lot.
It's like me, it's dense.
Yeah. But there's so much there and it's easy. You don't feel like it's not rocket science. It's easy to listen to and understand and explaining. I used to watch your older videos on YouTube of your techniques and stuff. So it's all in one place now. He's got it all organized and stuff. So check out Art by Akerman, Curtis Akerman. He's in the community. If you ever have any questions or and also the customizing studio. Before I go, I'd be remiss in mentioning that. Customizing.
Yeah, I mean, I would say any way that you can interact with folks in this community, do it. That's it. So if there's a show that's within a few hours of you that that's going on, go there. Friday night, if you don't have anything to do and you want to jump in that Legions chat, which is, it'll be in the events tab of the Cabal, jump in that Legions chat and hang out. Sunday, we do the customizing studio. You can just ask myself or anybody that's in there for an invite. But yeah, any way that you can have fellowship with folks in the community, whether it's live in person, whether it's on one of these kind of messenger groups, do it because it's awesome.
It's going to enrich your experience. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to be around great people.
And it's difficult, like after you go to your first Legions Con and you have like you leave on this super high and then you're like, man, I'm not going to see those people for a year, right? It just helps kind of bridge that gap till the next time that you see them at Legions Con. So
I'm going to see you at Muskie Con, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, a lot of these cons we kind of they're kind of mini cons, so I get to see all my friends again.
Yeah, so folks, if you're watching this and you want to see the two of these guys on screen, these two yahoos, come see us at MuskeeCon. March 21st will be the Mythic meetup. March 22nd will be the actual con in Muskegon, Michigan. We'll be there. We'll be having fun.
Absolutely. That's where I first met you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you so much, Curtis. I will see you soon. And we'll catch you guys later. Thank you very much.
Later. Bye.
Remember, friends, to always have fun, be curious, share, and enjoy what this line has to offer. Come for the toys, but stay for the friends. Good night, and thank you very much.